Why, hello everyone, and how are you doing? This is your host, Alora Baga, and this is the OG Star Wars channel. And we do have breaking news. I myself had to work this morning, so I was like, I need to go live or I need to do a pre recorded video on this to get in a conversation what you guys think. And then I thought, okay, let's go live. So here I am, another impromptu live, not my normal scheduled type of live. I still got my one of my work shirts on. Um, that's where I go to work out as well. So, hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. And this is regarding our live here this morning or this afternoon. It's afternoon already. Jeez. Um, is basically, let me make sure this is working because I didn't even test it. Is about George Lucas's recent statement on who he wants on, on the board for Disney. And what does that mean for fans and for Star Wars in general? Do you feel betrayed if you know what the article has said or what George had said or what was said that he had said? Because we know how interviews can twist and turn anybody's words around. There's so many scenarios, and we know too that people's people can say things and it can be misconstrued as well. So I already have a super chat. Hello, San Rock. How are you doing? I don't know if they had a gun to Lucas's head. All I know is this is a big blow to all the OG Star Wars fans. And you might, I don't know if you're gonna like my opinion or not because I like to think bigger and outside the box. Always, always, always. That's just me. I like to really dissect something, chew on it, and spit it out and all that stuff. So, but we'll get into that article here pretty quick. I just want to say hello to everyone and thank you for joining me this afternoon. Gordon, hello. This is crazy. I know. I know. He's become the very thing he swore to destroy. And I've just recently, not too long ago, I pointed out the irony of him talking about big corporates and not wanting them to invade into his story. And then he sells to a big corporate. The irony of that, man. All right. Tell me what you guys think about that. Love the Dark Empire fanmation. Yes, I do too. That's why I love displaying it all the time. That's why I love playing it. You know what? I need to find the artist name and put the artist name on there so that we can give them credit where credit is due. I have to do that. So let's see. CT Jane's here. I am an expanded universe purist and proud. Woo woo. Yes, the expanded universe. Here you go. And D. Carre is here. Hello, how are you doing? Thank you for joining in. We must have entered some kind of paradigm reality shift. I don't know. That it's really weird, but the thing is, despite what George has said, does that change your like for Star Wars, for your George Lucas era of Star Wars? Does that change anything about what he has said before about it not being his Star Wars? So what do you think about that? Smash the like button and share the stream out. Yeah, demash the like button. Hello there, OG Star Wars. Hey there, RIP Star Wars. A fitting name for now. I think a lot of people are feeling disenfranchised. Maybe not. We'll see. I'm not. Expanded universes are nothing. I agree. I can't believe what I'm hearing. He's going down the road I can't follow. I don't know who he is anymore. Padme. I don't know who you are anymore. There you go. No longer surprised. I mean, what else can there be? We'll get in the article and I will I have a few things to say about that article once we get into it. Saw the article early this morning. I seen it when I was going to teach. My routine Tuesday mornings is I get up, I have my breakfast, I'm out the door working out at the gym from 7 to about or 8 to 7, between 7 and 8 till 9ish. So I got cardio and weight training, and then I go and grab me a coffee, and then I go and teach yoga. So that's my Tuesday morning. However, I was up until maybe 3 again last night. And so I was like, forget it. I'm going to sleep in as long as I can. And so when I got up to go teach, I did see I did see the article, but there was nothing I can do about it. And then there's things I had to do between getting home and now that I had to take care of. And I was debating, should I do a pre-recorded video or should I come here and talk to you guys? Because I love the community. I love you guys and I want to hear your opinion, even if we don't have the same, or even if we're somewhere in similar but not, because we all have our own view and our own feelings and our own thoughts about things, and I want to create that discussion. Pain, terrible pain. And then rest in peace. I don't trust the Hollywood Reporter, and that's the thing. There's times like in the past under George Lucas when he was interviewed that his own company had to go and correct because they misquoted him or they made something sound very different than what George was alluding to. So the company has in the past under George has had to correct statements. That's common, for your statement, your interview to be written up in some words in a different context in which what you mean. So there's all that. So Assassins, honestly, I think George was told to say he supports Iger and is known for playing tricks on the media. The real bummer is the amount of people turning against him. That's the thing. Everybody's like, "Oh, George," and it's just. Now, if you want to talk about toxic fans now compared to like the last week's and or two's conversation was basically Jake Lloyd's and quote unquote toxic fans and stuff like that. Now, look what's going on. So, but is this hurting George? No, it's not. No, it's not. He is probably sitting at home, sitting pretty, protecting his investment basically. So you got one of my things I'm thinking about, and not really caring. Not really caring because it's not his lore anymore. Interesting, huh? It's not his lore anymore because he even stated that in the Harlem interview. It's not his lore anymore. So, I mean, who cares, right? He's just going to make sure that the investment that he did is, taken care of. So, but we'll get more into that. And then Anakin Baby, or Batsy, this is a baby, but Anakin Batsy. Hello. Nice name change. Hey, OG and chat. I was gonna say Anakin Baby. I need my glasses on because Batsy looked like baby to me. Soul Assassin says, well, Lucas was becoming big corporate as his business grew in popularity. And he did point that out. And I should have, I'm going to pull up that article. I'm going to pull up that interview because I remember that interview. I watched it not too long ago where he's like, and ironically, I am now the corporate. I built my own corporation, so there you go. But the thing is he wanted his thing is he wanted total control of what he's doing, how he's interpreting his lore. He didn't want no outsiders to come in to tell him what to do and what not to do. And it's funny because he even says, he even talks about with, I think it's Charlie Rose, about it being a divorce. Like, you once you're divorced, you stop going and you stop paying attention. You just dismiss yourself. And I'm paraphrasing, of course. And what is funny is he seen himself being divorced from Star Wars, from Lucasfilm, basically. I would say Lucasfilm in general, not Star Wars. Star Wars is his babies that he sold to slave traders, right? And then, but Lucasfilm, he got a divorce from it. But the funny thing is, he's making money off that divorce. So he's going to make sure his investment's okay. All right, so let's keep going on saying hello and stuff here. Gordon says, money talks and bullcrap walks. The Hollywood Reporter tried to spin a narrative that Lucas liked The Last Jedi. Yeah, I remember that. Charlie, what's up? The fact that Doomcock made that Lucas video I didn't watch the Lucas video. I am trying not to let anybody else's opinions not influence me. I want to come in and with my own analysis and stuff like this and come in with some reason and not like, oh, he ruined my life and blah, blah. No. Because you know what? The minute Disney bought Star Wars and then also 2 years later said that the EU is no longer relevant to their world building, is when I was like, holy shit. Okay, this is where we're going. So that's when I knew that everything was in danger. And then seeing George's reactions towards them dismissing him and how they were treating his lore and everything that he did and set up for them. Yeah, he was betrayed. But now he's made money, he's protecting his investment. So I don't expect nothing less. But we'll get into the article and we'll get a little bit more on that. Jim the Despot says, and thank you for the channel members as well coming in. And thank you for being a channel member as well. So who does George want as the head of Disney board? We'll get into that article. What's up? How are you doing, Star Wars Marvel purist? And look, I went to go curl my hair before we started, but you can't really see it because I'm wearing a black t-shirt. I still have to figure out the sliding thing. I'm gonna have to get like a shade, and then I'm probably gonna get something like a green background so I can have I can do different things with my own background. Yeah. And then Dicare says, doesn't change a thing, but I have decided Star Wars and I are on a break. Need to purge to enjoy. Yeah. Right now, I'm listening to and reading Darth Plagueis once again, because as you guys know, and we're not here to talk Acolyte, but as you know, that trailer dropped. And from my interactions on my social media, Twitter, I'm finding out people don't know much about the lore. And those who are defending it knows nothing about the lore and what George is setting up. Now that I could talk about and say blah 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 about the lore, all this other stuff, that's not going to change. Does my respect for George change? We'll get to that. I'll leave you guys hanging on that. Mr. Dystopian, good evening, OG, and good evening to you. And Jimmy the Kaz is here. Hiya. How are you doing? And then Only Good Games is here. What did he say? I am late to the video. I haven't even pulled up the article. I'm going through the chat here real quick because like I said, I wanted us to discuss and I want to say hello and address you guys before I get into the article. So that's just my style. Okay. There's 26 beautiful souls here. Please smash that like button. And as always, if you're catching the replay, say hello in the chat. Let me know what you think and hit that like button. Thank you. Gordon says perhaps he's senile. I don't know. He's up there in age, but he has his family to think about. So think about that. Think about that because he's not exactly like employed anymore. He's not a head of a business anymore. He might have his own little small business. I never looked into it, but he might have his other means of making money, and his investment is a means of making money. Tommy Doyle says the Acolyte trailer ripped off the Matrix. That's some things I'm seeing that people are saying. I watched Matrix once, and that was it. So I don't remember a lot of it. Adega Outlaw says Mexican Iron Man and I ran discuss this. I think it was well planned to affect the stock market. It's all part of the board seats. George was used as an instrument to that end. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation. That's all we could do, speculate, right? I don't think George is senile, Charlie says. I think he's trying to protect his legacy from the Disney ninjas. Okay. Purist says, regardless of what George thinks of Disney, he's their largest shareholder. I think he is the shareholder, the top. From what I understand, it's easy for others to tell him to light hundreds of millions, billions of dollars on fire too. Prove a point. Let's see here. Iger has been a disaster for Disney, but he continues to blame Chapek for his own failings. I think they're all pointing fingers. Really, I do. All of them are to blame because Chapek was even working with Iger before Chapek stepped up and Iger stepped down, and then Iger stepped back in. So there's all that. So Only Good Game says Legends Con 2 was just officially announced. I shared that on Twitter. To be taking place in Arlington, Texas. A lot of big writers will be there. Hopefully I can make it there. And maybe I can put a booth up with my art, my fan art. We'll see. He still supports perverted Disney. I could never go in good conscience support that. Not for all the money in the world. I'd rather be poor with a clear conscience. Yeah. Let's see here. All right. So let's go ahead. I know. Okay. I see another few people. So, Matt G, what's up? And fangirl over 40, we all need to raise the none of us know what, or we all need to realize none of us know what George is doing to take care of himself and his family. We are all not in his shoes. We love his creation and his EU. There you go. Okay. So, we have all our differing opinions. And does it matter? I don't know. Let's go ahead and pull this up here. Do I want full screen? Yes, I do. All right, so let's get into this article here. George Lucas comes out in support of Bob Iger. Disney is proxy battle. Creating magic is not for amateurs. So this is a well-written article to probably boost the stocks, right? To put because George's name is synonymous with Lucasfilm, right? With Star Wars, and Disney owns Star Wars, and so George, sold to Disney. There's that paper trail, right? We all know. This will may boost the stock market, right? Because it's not uncommon for tactics like this to be done. I've seen it growing up many times with different, businesses, all of that. Now, does it matter? Does it matter? Let's see here. Let me go ahead and bring this up here a little larger. Let's make it larger. George Lucas has come out in support of Disney and CEO Bob Iger as the company wages a bitter proxy fight against activist investor Nelson Peltz, who is making a run for 2 seats on the company's board. Now, do you really think that George may not really like Peltz as well? So this is like something that he is doing to protect his money, his assets. I don't think anybody has really, other than a private chat with like Tuscan Bob. I don't think anybody has maybe put that out to talk about. Is what does George think about Peltz? But again, we don't know. We can only assume. We can only speculate. In the statement issued this morning, Lucas said, now here's his quote. This is a statement issued by George or by his wife, by who? Because it says Lucas said, a statement that was issued that Lucas said. There you go. Okay, creating magic is not for amateurs. When I sold Lucasfilm just over a decade ago, I was delighted to become a Disney shareholder because my longtime admiration for its iconic brand and Bob Iger's leadership. But we know that Bob Iger, and this is me, and it's not what he's saying. He basically coerced. He kept on George for over a span of a year. He kept planting the seed, sell. Eventually, George gave in. So there's a little bit of that history, right? So do you think that George is just basically boosting this to, protect his investment? Yeah. When Bob recently returned to the company during a difficult time, I was relieved. So that he's talking about when Bob returned after, Chapek was axed out. No one knows Disney better. I remain a significant shareholder because I have full faith and confidence in the power of Disney and Bob's track record of driving long-term value. Now, he's not just talking about Lucasfilm. He's talking about Disney as a whole. There's like some pictures I've shared of George out of was it the making of it was the making of Return of the Jedi, and he's sitting at one of his office desks, and one of his book holders is Mickey Mouse. So one of the book end holders is Mickey Mouse, and this picture's back in 1983-ish or something like that. So, he's always been, I guess you could say enchanted or liked Disney for what it has done. Um, and its story tells and all this. So, but then you have to think, okay, so he invested in a company that he likes. So does this investment, after he sold, does this investment now reflect how he feels about how Disney is handling Lucasfilm? I think his statement from Harlem shows how he feels, shares how he feels, really, and that he separated himself from it. He's just now a shareholder, the top shareholder, right? Or one of the top or one of the top. And so he's just protecting his stock, his money, his investment. Okay, so I have voted all of my shares to Disney's 12 directors and urge other shareholders to do the same. So he wants to keep in the 12 shareholders currently in the business right now, currently on the panel. Disney acquires the company being Star Wars in the late 2012 in a cash and stock deal with $4 billion, which made the Lucasfilm founder a major Disney stockholder. It was one of a trio of deals, along with Marvel and Pixar, that cemented Iger's reputation. Former Marvel chief and Disney executive Ike Perlmutter, sorry about that, also a major Disney shareholder, is supporting Train. So let's get into a little bit more of this. So we have another major shareholder supporting Train, and George is not. So we have this back and forth here. Pelt's investment firm Train Group claims a list of grievances from management, strategy, stock price, and board accountability that it says could be remedied if its director nominees Peltz himself and former Disney executive Jay Rasulo ascends to the board. Train has been waging an aggressive outreach campaign to woo Disney stockholders. The stock hasn't cooperated with Peltz, however, relying in a recent month to near 52-week high. So it's going into a little bit of history here. And George basically is like, reminding that, he sees Peltz as someone who doesn't understand how to create things. He's not a creator. And that's basically what his concern is, I guess. What do you guys think? Let me see what you guys have to say first. Let me see what you guys have to say. Another. Oh, thank you, fangirl, for your 249 chat. Hello, OG from us in Ireland. Talk soon. Yes, we still need to connect and collaborate. So I haven't forgotten, just life has gotten me busy behind the scenes. Only Good Game says, would love to hear your review of Plagueis, one of my favorite stories in Star Wars, easily. Yes, I will definitely review that. Oh, 32 people here. Thank you guys for hopping in. You'd be surprised how many people don't know shit on Twitter about Star Wars. I know. It is friggin' crazy. Let me see here. Harrison Ford is getting up there in age also. So I'm just randomly clicking here. Let me see here. Come on, OG. You know you were that late 90s, early 20s to our 2000 Matrix fashion. Leather jacket and sunglasses. I wore leather jackets way before then. What are you talking about? They copied me. No, joking. Zork PL says, he's old and didn't care for a long time and let himself get used like a pawn. Tuscan Bob's here, top individual shareholders, but only about 2% smaller than Cajun Nuts at a Disney hotel. Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to DM you. Are you available, Tuscan Bob? Are you available? Let me see here. I would love to hear what you have to say some more. Okay, let me see. All right. All right. If you can come in, if you are available, if you're not working, I appreciate. If not, then that is fine as well. I understand. Let's see how that goes. Let's see how this goes. Oh, my phone is alert is on. Let me turn that off. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Star Wars Marvel Purse says Rhino will be joining me on April 18th and probably 25th to do a deep dive discussion on Darth Plagueis book and the lore. Ooh, that's amazing. I'm gonna have to go check you guys out. To go watch. We'll probably take 2 streams since it's so dense. Oh my god, I know. Even the first of the like the chapters and stuff, the beginning is dense in itself when Plagueis offs his master. The statement, the full version sounds like something that was written sheet of time for George to say. And that's a thing. So what do you guys think about that? Let me see here. What have you done, George? What have you done to me lately? Yeah. Okay. Hello, Justin. How are you doing? And he says, I wonder, he says, hi, everyone, or hiya, everyone. I wonder how much of this was pre-planned. Pre-planned. George was delighted. I kind of doubt that. George, I think, wanted to make sure that Star Wars was still available for the fans, but wasn't ready for what was going to go down. I'm not going to say pride, but I think his expectations of what he expected was severely subverted. Don't know why people think Putz Boy would be an improvement. I would doubt it if everyone who thinks so also thought the same about Chapek. That's interesting because everybody like rooted for Chapek, all of that, and nothing was done. Nothing was improved in his time. In fact, even his time under the parks and stuff before he stepped in as CEO before was not that good. Let me see here. Gordon says it was George who put Filoni in control of canon breaking TCW and did not stop. You know what? I there is information, a bit of proof that George didn't hire. It wasn't George who hired Filoni. It was his company, but it was someone who was in charge of the TCW themselves, not George. So that, whether it matters or not, probably doesn't whatsoever. Because evidently they allowed him to get away with so much stuff, and then you had Leland Shee like scouring right behind him, trying to clean up everything. So, and let's see here. Let's see here. Cleet Iger destroyed Cleet Iger destroyed Disney. All right. I sold my children to white slavers. Yeah, that's the thing. He said so many things. He is just protecting his stock. He's just protecting his assets. That's it. He's further like he has removed himself completely from Star Wars, basically, because he admitted that Disney Star Wars isn't his. He lost control. And that's it. So Fangirl says, I worked for Disney from 1996 to 1997 in Florida. Disney corporate creates things to make money, full stop. If people who actually loved their projects were in charge, we'd have a much different Disney. Very interesting. What did you work? Where did you work, if you don't mind if I ask? Where did you work at under Disney? Melissa Lord says, I don't care what George wants. Lafala, I want Disney gown. I think a lot of people, and to me, hey, George, you're investing in this, but it's time for Disney to stop. It's time for Disney to stop production, and all this other stuff. It's like not even Disney. It's a lot of these franchises that are suffering from the direction these creators are taking them. Now, biggest question here. Because George, has this big stock, has his stakes in for Disney, and now the statement comes out, whether it's directly from him or or whatever, because it says a statement sent in, regarding what George said. Um, do you think that he even cares about Disney? I mean, about Star Wars? Um, and do you think that because, he has all this money in, does it even matter, basically? So do you think he cares? Does it matter? Does it matter to him? Or do you think it's just the money, making sure that his money is what matters? Let's see here. George also was also somewhat an amateur when he started making Star Wars. Yeah, he was fresh out of college. He was basically an honor student under, film. He, you know, earned scholarships right away. He earned praise for what he has done. He has excelled in his studies, in the filmmaking industry, to even making you know advances. So there we go. So this man is a man of influence. This man is a man of influence in Hollywood, even though he wanted to be outside of Hollywood. He wasn't independent for a very long time. He did create his own corporate. He did. Lucasfilm is a corporation, but it was free from Hollywood. That's the only difference, was free from Hollywood, but it influenced Hollywood. It influenced Hollywood. And here we go. Let me go ahead and get this taken care of. Oh, hey. Hi there. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Yeah. So I know we discussed a little bit in DM about this article here, and I want to hear what you have to think about, or what you have to say.
Oh boy, that's a
You
dangerous
have
thing.
free reign. You have free reign. Go for it.
Okay, first off, to those of you out there who are now professing that this is the final straw, and that now, like, oh, now Star Wars is dead, or it's over, there's no hope now. Bullshit, you lying fucking frauds. Everything for the last 5 years, 6 years has been the line that shall not be crossed, this far, no farther. I give up. This is the end of all the hope, until the next thing, until the next thing, until the next thing. My question to you people out there who are super depressed about this would be like, where have you had your head buried for the last 6 years that you had any hope whatsoever that there was some sort of redemption arc for this franchise?
Mhm.
It doesn't exist. It's been dead.
But oh
It's been
no,
dead
not
since it's been sold. Well, it's
yeah, but
been dead since Filoni was hired.
we could go way before the buyout, right? Way before the buyout, when people are like in huge denial because he's George's apprentice.
Well, here's the thing. Like, look, I respect George for what he created and he
Mhm.
accomplished with his company, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And I can say that still, like his success is admirable.
Mhm.
However, his track record of judgment has not been very good.
Right.
I mean, let's go back. Like, so this is the man who hired Filoni and gave him free reign to fuck up his lore on TCW, right? That's a pretty big strike. This is the
Okay.
man who chose Disney of all companies to sell to. Well, maybe it was the highest bidder. Foul ball.
Okay.
Strike 2. Strike 3, he personally put Kathleen Kennedy in charge of the
Boom.
future
Right.
of Lucasfilm. Like, how at this point, like you're disappointed that he didn't decide to join some rogue weird proxy fight for a couple of board seats? 2 of the 12 board seats. This is the guy who put Kennedy in charge. This is the guy who put Filoni in charge. Like I'm sorry, but he created something great, but that does not make him infallible.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
I
And
mean, like, it's
go
great
ahead.
that people have hero worship for the man. Like,
Mhm.
again, for what he accomplished and a love for what he accomplished, but that has long been dead. And it was dead. It was dying when he still owned the company.
Mhm.
Disney made it worse, no doubt. Kathleen Kennedy made it worse, no doubt. Iger made it worse, no doubt. Chapek made it worse, no doubt. Still, like,
And
he has been responsible.
it's quite funny that there's a lot of people like these big channels, and I'm just gonna say it, Doomcock,
Yeah.
Doomcock, who is like, "Oh, now Star Wars is dead because of what Disney or what he said and how he's not backing Peltz and and how he's backing Iger. Now Star Wars is finally dead." I'm like, "What the fuck is it going to take for you to realize that Star Wars has been long dead and that you just been humping a horse, a dead horse?"
He said Star Wars is dead after TLJ came out. What was that, 2017?
You're right.
7 years ago? Star Wars has been dead for 7 years, Doomcock.
Mhm. And there's
Yeah,
similar
you've had
people
faith,
that
like you
way.
had some sort of expectation that Lucas, by
Mhm.
voting in some weird way for 2 people to be on a 12-seat board to
Mhm.
stick their middle fingers up at Bob Iger in a personal grudge match.
Mhm.
You thought George was going to get in on that game for what? I'm sorry, he doesn't even want Star Wars back.
Uh-oh. I think I lost him.
You
There you
can't
are.
hear me?
Oh, there you go. There you go. I don't know if
Oh,
it's my
sorry.
end. I didn't get any warning or anything, but yeah. So, yeah. Oh my God. But so with this right here, do you think this is just a statement made out to maybe like coax the shareholders or people to invest in the stocks more, thinking that because they're announcing Georgia's support in this way that it'll make people buy more stocks? Do you think this is a strategic plan of how they're announcing this because they're coming up to this important vote?
Well, if it's a strategic plan, then the plan
Mhm.
would be you'd have to interpret the plan as like George is saying this now to make it more expensive for Peltz's group,
Uh-huh.
um, to acquire more voting shares to get their way. But what Peltz's group is trying to do is convince regular shareholders to vote in their way for the next, you know, board of directors.
Mhm.
They don't need to own more shares. They have enough shares to be influential. But Lucas himself, right?
Mhm.
A lot of people are like he's the largest shareholder. He's the largest individual shareholder. Okay. Financial institutions own much more of Disney than Lucas does. Lucas owns like less than 2% of the company.
Mhm.
Right. So
Okay.
like Lucas would have to convince like the another like 49% to go his way or whatever in some sort of in order to get like the 50 plus one
Mhm.
advantage. Not the board of directors, it doesn't quite work like that, but it's still it would be an outside chance. And here's my gut is that Peltz's group doesn't have the votes to begin with,
Mhm.
and there's no reward for sticking your neck out as a large shareholder in a losing
Yeah.
battle. Like if people
Oh, yeah.
know that it'd be like trying to convince a guy to like play injured when when the team is down like 107 to 3.
Mhm.
Like, I need you to go back out there and play on your broken ankle. Like, no, the game's lost, buddy. Fuck you. Fuck you, coach. You ain't
Mhm.
putting me in. I ain't playing. I got a busted leg and there's no hope of winning. Like, I ain't going in there and you can't make me. Like, it's just
Mhm.
so you have to factor that in. And this works in politics all the time, right? So there's a lot of what show votes. in the world
Mhm.
of politics, and to a degree, these kind of board situations are a game of politics.
Right.
Um, they're show votes. People vote a particular way on them because the bill itself has no way of actually becoming law. If there was a risk of it actually passing, people would vote differently.
Mhm.
So it's like it's one thing to vote affirmatively for something that you know is going to get beat, and quite another to vote affirmatively for something that's going to pass, and then when it fails, your name gets pinned to it, being responsible for it.
Right.
And
You
in a
don't
lot of
want
these
that.
situations, these
Mhm.
people like the last thing they want to be is like held accountable for anything, including this Peltz guy. I mean, he's going like, "Oh, I want Iger and the current board to be held accountable for the results of Disney stock." Well, the problem for them is that the stock has rebounded quite a bit. It's at like 141 now, I think.
Mhm.
You'd have to. I'm
I
not
don't have the
positive. I'd have to look it up here. Let me see what it's.
Yeah, I didn't pull that up yet.
Oh
So
no,
go ahead and pull it.
114. I'm dyslexic.
Okay.
Oh, it's 114, but I mean that's up $20 from its low.
Yeah.
And the stock has rebounded to some degree. And when the stock is showing signs that it's rebounding, it's very difficult to convince people to bail on a board.
Right.
And it could just
And
be
it
like
could change quick.
Lucas
Yeah.
might just be like, you know what, I don't want any part of this. I'm going to put out this statement. So then, like, my position is done. It's out there, so people stop asking me about it. I mean, he has any number of motives, and it could be
Mhm.
again, it could be financial. He might just be acting out in his own best interest. Like, no, I think if I put this statement out here, the stock's going to get pushed higher. I'm going to make more. I'm going to have more money in my
Mhm.
portfolio.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what some of the conclusion I'm coming to. It's like he is so dismissed from Star Wars now that right now all that matters to him is making the money that he invested in. It's like he's so
The-
dismissed from Star Wars or Lucasfilm in general that anything that matters to him in any light of Disney under or Star Wars or Disney is just him protecting his investment. That's it. That's how I see that. Oh no.
yeah, Peltz went after smaller shareholders, hoping that the cumulative effect of having a bunch of smaller shareholders would
I
would
think
get
it
him
froze up.
get him the seat that he wanted. But like, here's the thing: like, I don't know why people think Peltz is the cure.
Mhm.
I mean, like, careful what you wish for, guys, because like a lot of the same people that are pushing like the Peltz is going to be our hero, and notice that over the years, there always has to be the new villain and the new hero that comes in and is going to save Star Wars. Whether it's Lucas is going to buy it back, or Elon Musk is going to buy it, or somebody else is going to buy it, Peltz is going to buy it. All these things because you got to keep the story going, right? You got to keep
Mhm.
selling that false hope to keep those clicks going.
Mhm.
Um, but like, has anybody like what's Peltz's plan? Like, the Peltz doesn't really have any history of running studios or anything. So is he going to hand it all over to Perlmutter again? And then, like, what's he going to do with it? Like, how do you know
And
it's
that's
even going to be better? Careful
yeah,
what you
and that
wish for.
goes
Because
into Yeah, that goes into George's statement about like, about how, people people need experience in running these kind of corporations. And what does it say? Oh, creating magic is not for amateurs. Basically, is George. That's what they said. George said. Um, and so that's kind of calling out Peltz a bit because does he have expertise in what he is trying to invest in? And why are
no,
people wanting him to be in there? What? Because they think that he's going to change this DIE,
he's
inclusivity
not going to be
board.
able to because the major shareholders, the ones that really own the whale amount of shares, are those institutional investors. But the thing is, okay, so you got Peltz is an unknown. You don't know how he's like, or like if he even plans to, or is he just gonna like fire sale off some of their assets and break up the company and make his money that way. Like, nobody really has any idea what he's gonna do. But I'm willing to bet that the same people who are singing the Peltz is gonna come to the rescue song were
Mhm.
singing the same song when Chapek got announced.
Yeah,
And then
yeah, that's
singing
the
the same
similarity.
and then singing the same song when Chapek got replaced back with Iger again.
Mhm.
It's the same people are saying like the same thing, and it's selling you guys a fucking story. That's it. I'm sorry. That's all they're doing.
Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. And that goes within even the same kind of stance when it comes to whenever a new show comes out. You know, the same, it's all the same. Everything's being repeated. Wash, rinse, repeat. And then you have people that are basically, you know, speaking out against this and wanting pelts. And now George has ruined their life once again, I guess you could say, or has ruined Star Wars or whatever, and are sitting at Disney having a good time. So I don't know what to make of this bullshit that's going on. It's like, what do you fucking want? Do you want, do you want to support Disney or not? What is your fucking stance?
Here's what I want.
Mhm.
I want the people that 24 hours ago thought that Peltz was gonna and Perlmutter were gonna come in and save the day and rescue Star Wars and everything. Like I want those people who, despite all evidence that has been thrown in their face for the last 7 years plus, I want those people to end up in a permanent, never-ending, downward depressing spiral of doom and self-hatred, because they deserve it. Like, if you believe 24 hours ago that Disney could be redeemed or Star Wars could be redeemed, you deserve the acolyte, and you deserve this today. You
Yeah, and then
sincerely, you've earned it. Congratulations. I hope it knocks you up.
the acolyte is out, and oh my god, just like I said, it's the same bullshit, wash, rinse, repeat going on, and the same grifting, all of that. None of them care really about Star Wars, quote unquote, being saved. And I think the only way Star Wars can ever be saved is it just stop being produced, stop being made, that basically let it burn down. Let it burn down. And if it ever is gets resurrected, who knows? But from this point, it's not Star Wars anymore. And you could say that with a lot of franchises today. It's not just Disney that's doing are hurting all these franchises. All these franchises outside of Disney are also suffering with the same Hollywood fixation.
Well, that's the other thing, right? And
Mhm.
Dan's in the chat. I see him there. He definitely back us up on this, because we've talked about this a
Mhm.
number of times on the spacings and in DMs. Like, the reason, like, the idea that you're going to put your faith in like some one person is going to like change this thing and be like, then why hasn't it happened with a single studio?
Mhm.
Not one. They're all shit. Which one isn't?
Mhm.
You tell me Warner Brother isn't? Worse than Disney. I mean,
And
come on.
then
Like, what Hollywood company isn't? So, coming out of that system or coming out of that environment, like who is going to suddenly take over Disney and have it be suddenly a great company again?
Mhm. Yeah.
It just isn't. Tell me, like, I never liked the idea of Disney buying Lucasfilm. I've hated
Mhm.
Disney for almost my entire adult life, because it always, and here's what bugged me, and this is like how some things just never change, right?
Mhm.
So when I worked at a video store way long time ago, one of the things that frustrated me to no end was how robotic and mindless people were when it came to clamshell movies that came in a clamshell box. And clamshell box is the plastic VHS holder that
Mhm.
opened up like a book, and it was a
Yeah.
bigger package, and it was plastic and
Mhm.
everything. Like, every Disney movie came in a damn clamshell box. It wasn't just Disney movies that did the clamshell box, but like Disney, like everything. And if it had the Disney logo on it, people would just buy it or rent it just based on that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, they literally could put shit in a box that's a clamshell box with like some pastel colors on it, and you guys would like fucking eat it and be like, "This is good." And that always bugged me about Disney because I'm just like,
Yeah.
they some of the movies were good, yeah, sure, but like, quit mindlessly buying it. Like, you people that do that and then are complaining about the quality of movies, like, you get what you deserve. And it's the
Mhm.
same for you fans of video games out there who keep buying pre-ordering every fucking game under the sun. And then
Yeah.
going, "Well, what's this? Day one patches? This is bullshit. They're releasing a beta product." Be like, "You paid in advance for it, you fucking idiot. Stop doing that."
Mhm.
Like, you've conditioned them to go like, "This is easy money, let's do it." And you won't change, and so they won't. Why would they?
Yeah.
But I've hated
And
Disney
then
all the way since back then, and I will say that, like, when Disney bought Star Wars, I'd been out of I didn't work at a video store. I was less interested in movies by at that point in my life than previously. But I was just like, well, they're going to have the capital that's needed to make one of these big production movies.
mhm.
Like, they're gonna have the money to be able to make a $300 million, $400 million Star Wars movie. And so, like, and not many other companies out there
Mhm.
will do that. And
Mhm.
so I was like, well, we'll see. Well, it didn't take very long for Disney to kind of prove themselves. And at that point, I was already kind of like not a huge fan of Disney because TCW or
Mhm.
Star Wars because of TCW. I'm like, I can't stand this
Yeah.
cartoon shit.
Yeah, we established that, you and cartoons, it's like, mm-mm.
Fucking can't stand it. Cannot fucking stand that cartoon garbage.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Yeah.
well, it can't get any worse. I was wrong. I'll admit I was wrong. It
No, yeah,
absolutely
it's
can't get
like
worse.
Disney's like, "Hold my beer. We'll show you Tuscan
Yeah.
Bob." You know? And like I said earlier, the minute that George sold Star Wars or Lucasfilm to Disney, and then 2 years later, that kinda solidified how I felt and what was gonna happen. It's that gut instinct of you knowing that this company doesn't know how to handle this type of property, and, um and that's where it went downhill for me. And the thing is with this is that now today in this culture war, it's like now people are quote unquote gatekeeping. That's another buzzword now on who can talk about what based upon their experience with the property or what have you, or games. And that's pissing me off because the reason why I'm getting pissed off is that people are now saying, "Oh, well, you can't be on our side because you hate to play games and that you shouldn't be
Hmm.
talking about it," even though they have experience in talking about what's going on with politics. Politics goes through our culture, our pop culture and stuff. And then it goes in through and influences the minds of the children, the young adults and on up to influence their voting in the direction that they want them to go. It's like indoctrination, I guess you can say in a sense. And when you're talking to get someone who has some sort of experience or some sort of like leeway or pull and saying you can't talk about this, and why are you fucking in this culture war anyways?
I just look at it that I know what you're alluding to. I find it amusing that it's like, well, this is why this is why we're going to lose in the culture war. We're going to lose in politics. It's like, well, I don't know about you, but like I've never gone like the politician I have to vote for, and the only politician I'll vote for is one that likes and respects every single one of my hobbies. Like,
There you go. That's another thing.
if he
Yeah.
does not like if he says one of my hobbies is stupid and he's not into it, then like he's not qualified to run the country or make policy. Be like,
Yeah,
like
good
fuck the
point.
political issues and ideology and basic governmental philosophy and rights and all that stuff. Like, no, you have to like fucking stupid anime or I'm not voting for you.
Mhm.
No,
Yeah.
I don't give a shit whether or not you like anime or whether or not you like fucking video games.
Mhm. Yeah.
Doesn't change
It's
anything.
about
That's so
right. It's
stupid.
about like it's about your ideologies and what are you doing, what's gonna happen if you go in and how you're gonna change the yeah, I mean, there's a lot more dynamics into this than,
And for the record,
than
like I play video games. Like I am a
right.
gamer. Like I'm not obsessed about them like I was when I was
Mhm,
20 some years younger because I'm not 20 some years younger anymore.
mhm.
Like I do think there is a point in your life where you reach a certain age where it's like you probably should be doing better things with your time. Like, and that's not to say we're going to ban video games or I would ban video games, but I would tell you like, yeah, yeah, like spending all your free time in front of your computer playing video games is probably not the best thing to do.
Right. Right. It's a nice enjoyment, like, for once in a while and stuff, but I guess I'm gonna digress from this and stuff, but do you have
Mm.
anything further that you would like to add to this topic about George and the stock holders and his statement?
I'm reading Dan Blackwell saying Little Tuscan Bob loved Tropico. Yes, I did. Was very involved in the modding community with that game actually. And
Ah.
that's where you could become a dictator and rule people with an iron fist and kill them if you wanted to. It was great. It was like a dream society for me, with me in charge. As far as George Lucas goes, no. Like I'll just to sum it up. Like if this surprised you or this changes your outlook for Star Wars in some way, like I guess like I if you're saying that, I just don't believe you because of all the other things that have occurred in the last 7 years, like this is nothing compared
Mhm.
to the betrayals and letdowns that we've experienced
Yeah.
over the years. This is an absolute nothing burger. Like I don't know what people expected George Lucas to do. I don't think it matters what he thinks anyway.
Mhm. Yeah. That's basically how I feel about the whole thing. It doesn't matter. I mean, everything that happened at Disney already, it's gone. It's long past been it's past its expiration date, all of that. Um it doesn't matter. But if you are now all of a sudden deciding, oh, well, now Star Wars is finally dead because George is not backing what I want him to back, then you know what? You were never in this game to begin with. You never cared about anything about Star Wars from the beginning. It's just all about the grift and all about the money. That's it for you for your platform. That's how I see that.
Mm,
And that
yes.
can be harsh. That could be harsh, but you know what? I don't care. I'm tired. I'm tired of this bullshit. I'm tired of it all. It's like, where were you when, he sold it? Where were you when they decided to toss the EU so that they can have creative freedom? That was the huge, huge, huge sign that they were going to screw up the franchise. When Disney bought it, we knew already. We already talked and discussed about TCW pre Disney, and that's something I've discussed since before the buyout. I've always had that stance. So,
Mm.
yeah, so that's
So
how I feel. So those in the chat, what do you guys think about this?
can I ask you
Go
a
ahead.
question? It's a little off topic. What do you call a
Go ahead.
trailer to a scissors reel? A sizzle
Okay.
reel?
A trailer to a sizzle reel?
Yeah, I mean, because that's what came out, right? The trailer to
Oh,
the
I
sizzle
don't
reel.
know. Is this a joke?
Is it a trizzle
I
reel?
think
I
it
mean,
is.
like
I
like
wish
can we come up with a term for it, or
drizzle reel?
do we have to phone Sparrow?
Sparrow. I don't know, but I did investigate into someone's opinion about that, and oh lord. It's just I'm waiting to hear what Sparrow has to say about this. What about you guys? What do you call a trailer to a scissor reel? A sizzling trailer?
Sparrow can't say anything.
Trailer park trash?
The people who got Epstein will come kill him.
Oh, that's right.
Remember,
That's right.
he
That's the
can't say anything.
controversy. Right. That's the controversy right there. You can't say anything because his life is at stake. That's so fucking full of shit. Sparrow hasn't left the nest in months. He's afraid he's going to get shot down.
Yeah,
you
pretty sure
know?
his Patreon's still active.
Exactly. So, All right. Well, thank you for coming on. And
Mhm.
I really wanted to get your opinion and your voice on this. I think it was very important for you to come on and share. And
Always good to vent a little bit and insult people.
exactly. If that's whatever you needed to do, but I'm glad to have you on, and thank you again, and thank you, chat, for coming in and discussing and hearing what we have to say about this latest breaking news. It's nothing, you guys. Don't freak out. It's nothing. George has long since been absent from Star Wars. Nothing's going to change with it, and what he says means nothing now. So there you go. It's nothing. It's not a damn thing. So thank you guys again for tuning in, and Cap Chat this Thursday morning at 9 a.m. And then there is the spacing, and that is at 8:05 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, my time. I'll most likely be in the chat, and we'll hear more about what Tim has to say on this very topic as well. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that. And thank you guys again, and may the force be with you.
You rebel scum.
The fate of the galaxy is now in your hands. With the new LEGO Star Wars Slave One, you can load Captain Solo, arm your weapon systems, man the cockpit, and take off with the most feared ship in the galaxy. But watch out for rebel ships. No matter the enemy, no matter the firepower, you control the action. With the new LEGO Star Wars collection.
Another happy landing.